Welcome back to Ask Allison. I'm Allison, here to answer your questions about private practice. And here is today's. My practice has mistakenly and accidentally grown into a group practice. I hired a clinician, LMSW, at 50% of whatever the clients pay. I noticed that she was refusing to attend our meetings and was not keeping me in the loop regarding our clients. I found out that she was referring clients to other entities if they couldn't afford their rates instead of speaking to me. What sparked her recently leaving was letting her know that there will be one general email for client communication. I can no longer afford paying for her personal email because she had one client from four. She insisted on having me take care of inquiries and schedule them and grew upset because inquiries wanted to be seen by me when I tried to explain that she needed a video and a professional picture so inquiries can see who she is. She never submitted this. She recently said, quote, "I'm going to be honest, I'm thinking about just leaving. This is overwhelming," end quote. I asked, well, how are you going to proceed to inform your current client? And she called me to tell me that she's keeping that client. I was in shock. I was always taught that that is not allowed. I remember having to sign an NDA, and it clearly indicates it there. I am distraught. I need advice as to how I can proceed. So first, I want to thank Therapy Notes for sponsoring Ask Allison. If you're looking for an all-in-one practice management system, you need to check out Therapy Notes. It's top rated on Trustpilot. It does all the back-end pieces a private practice requires: schedule, charge, bill insurance, do your notes and reminders, store your intake paperwork, complete online video sessions, all in one platform. You can get 2 months free to play with it if you use the code ABUNDANT at checkout at therapynotes.com. All right, so I want to preempt my response with a few things that I want you to trust and hold on to as I answer your question. The first is that I'm making the assumption that you are doing the best you know how and have been thus far. Also, that I can feel the strain and the stress that you're under in what you wrote, and I have tons of empathy for that. And also, I love that you've been so successful, that you've had so many clients calling that you're able to hire somebody. But I never, ever want a group practice to be accidentally or mistakenly created. I know it seems like it's the next step when referrals are pouring in. I know it feels like a missed opportunity to not capitalize on that as soon as possible. But creating a group practice is a very different thing than creating a solo practice plus one person. You need different infrastructure. You need a payroll system. You need an NPI-2 if you're working with insurance. You need leadership training. You need an attorney to run the legal stuff by and an accountant for the accounting piece. You need a clear explanation of why this clinician is a 1099 or a W-2. You need to know that you're going to lose money at first. You need a job description for that person that includes what they're expected to do so that it's really clear to both of you what's your job and what's theirs. So for instance, are they paid their hourly rate for non-client meetings? You can't require someone to show up for a meeting with you without paying them. And it sounds like you also needed an onboarding system. So it sounds like as a leader, you were not clear and consistent with your expectations. Asking someone to submit something like a picture and a video, or asking them for the picture and asking how you can support them with the video, because some people really have no idea what to say in those things, as a part of the onboarding process might have avoided some of the weirdness you're currently in. It also sounds like you might not have been really picky about who you chose. And as a group practice owner, I want you to only take the most diligent, communicative, clinically excellent employees. But you have to model that to get that. And it sounds like you haven't done much of what needs to be done to establish a legit group practice. And I get why. Again, like I don't want the person who asked me this to feel, beat up by this. And I don't want anybody who's listening to feel like, yeah, you did it wrong or anything like that. This happens all the time. And it's because you're packed to the gills with clients. Most group practice owners have to shrink their own clinical load significantly to manage the increased administrative load of owning a group practice. So you mentioned an NDA. I think you mean a non-compete. Non-compete clauses don't actually hold up in most states. In our field, most of our ethics indicate that the client should be able to choose who they see. The client this clinician is working with has a relationship with that clinician, not with your practice, not necessarily with you. So that clinician knows that client on a level that a practice entity can't. I know a lot of practices create those non-competes, even though they're not very enforceable. But I honestly believe that most of the group practice owners who implement them with intention are more concerned about the impact on their bottom line than the impact on that client's well-being. If it helps to have an example, here's what my group practice looks like. I keep it intentionally very small because I have one employee and she is a unicorn. I don't want to manage errant therapists. I don't want to have to make therapists do their job. And so I have not looked for another employee because she is just a unicorn and I'm really happy working with her. So she's a W-2 employee. I handle all the taxes as a business owner. I handle all inquiries and I schedule the new clients. We have weekly supervision. She handles the follow-up appointments with her clients because usually they're on a road like every Tuesday at 2 or whatever. She has her own email. I manage the administrative email. I'm responsible for marketing the practice to keep referrals coming in. I pay the rent, the EHR, the phone, the email. She's responsible for the clinical care of her clients, doing her notes, hitting the button that charges them, and that's basically it. She sets the hours and the days she wants to work. She takes time off when she wants. If she's sick, I'll offer to call and reschedule her clients, but she's never taken me up on it. So as the leader of a much bigger team with abundance, as well as in my practice, I see my job as a boss as doing all I can to make sure my employees know how much I value them. I listen to their feedback really eagerly because they are brilliant. I only hire really brilliant people and they see things that I don't. I look for ways that I can serve them, not just ways they can serve me. Also very clear on my boundaries. And as a result, I've been able to hire and retain really incredible employees. I strongly suggest before hiring anyone else, or for anybody listening who's considering a group practice, that you join the group practice exchange. I learned everything I know about group practice from the founder. I am not paid or perked to recommend them. They're just really good. It's no fluff, and it teaches you what you need to know that you don't already have the skills for as a solo practitioner, or maybe you have the skills, but you don't have the nuts and bolts know-how. Yeah. So I hope that if this felt harsh, which it would probably feel harsh if someone said this to me, honestly, but I hope that you're able to see that I really want you to have a group practice that feels really good to you and your employees. I just think you move too fast and you didn't create the infrastructure needed to make that happen, which is a super common problem. I would say it's done in this way more often than it's done in a more methodical way. And if all that extra work isn't something you want to do, you can optimize your solo practice. If you want to make more money, raise your rates. If you want to have a bigger impact on the community, get to know the therapists you can refer to and volunteer. If we're being honest with ourselves, most of us aren't as interested in managing therapists, whereas most of us wouldn't be upset about more money. So figure out what makes you want a group practice and see how you can make that same result happen in a different way if group practice is not feeling like the right choice for you. Today's free worksheet is 5 considerations before starting a group practice. I hope that helps. I'm sorry if that hurt. But if you have any questions for me, please DM me over on Instagram where I'm abundance_practice_building.